this. Look at this. We are live. I'm sorry about that, Steeler Nation. Camera would not work. Welcome to Stryker's Inside Slants. We're in the playoffs. Will we win? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm happy to have Mason Rudolph at quarterback and have Tomlin be smart enough to say, look, you're going to be our guy moving forward. You got us here. Our season was dead to rights. Steelers season was dead to rights, guys. Tomlin haters. Got to eat a little bit of crow here. Lost to 2-2-10 team. Oh, Tomlin sucks. Doesn't get his team ready ever. Oh, he's terrible. I will tell you one thing, Tomlin haters. I've never seen a team lose to two teams that terrible at the end of the year and recover to make the playoffs, playing three better teams. Never happened. You want to know why? Tomlin never loses that locker room, ever. Players play for him. Players play hard for him. They love him. Some of you guys might not like him being a player's coach, but the guy gets results. And there's the reason why he's now number 11 all-time in NFL wins in the regular season, just tying Chuck Knox. It's because he knows how to motivate his players and get them to win when we don't think they will win. Kenny Beamer, let's go! Michael Hall of Fame, we are live! Let's go, Stryker! Woo! Thank you, Michael Hall of Fame. Hope you guys got your drinks tonight. I got some peanut butter whiskey here from Sheepdog. You can sponsor me, Sheepdog, if you like. Adam Baum! Here we go, Steelers. Honey Project, Stryker, all good there? No, I had a little bit of technical difficulties. For some reason, it wasn't registering my cam. Sorry for that, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. Got it back up. Taking all your comments, all of your, let me know your questions and comments. We're going to go to all of them right now. Obviously, smash that like button. Share. Tell everybody how Steeler Nation Stryker knows how to treat the fans. Discuss. Let all opinions show. Speaking of all opinions, love you, Mr. Tamburo. Good to see you again. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, sir. Love having you on the show. Adam Bomb Stryker, how you doing? So far, so good. Had a half day pretty much. Kid got home early. Everybody got home early because the storms over here in Maryland shut down schools early. So built a fire. Been relaxing by the fire of the family. We've been watching Community for like 4 hours. So enjoying my night tonight. And now I'm on the show enjoying my night with the rest of you guys. Tamburo, last show, we talked. I meant to own up to anything of any way been incorrect about. No, don't worry about it, man. We were just discussing. I mean, we don't have to be right all the time. We are fans. Even though I stand by Joey Porter not being a good tackler and not being a true number one quarterback, but instead of an ideal number two, I was critical of everyone over complimenting him. Okay, well, that's your opinion. I will state PFF has him rated as allowing the least amount of completions of any starting quarterback for the year. And that's just a straight numbers thing. Plus, he's just a rookie. Will he get better? Yes. Yes, he will. Joey Porter is going to be the starter he's going to be a starter on this team for a very long time. And I'm finally glad that we found somebody with some capability coming onto this team that looks like they can be a starter. And that's definitely the case with Joey Porter Jr. Ron Burgundy in the house. Hello, John. Good to see you, my friend. I know we've been to a game together in the past. Good to have you back on the show, my friend. Robert, there's never been any lack of love from me for anyone in the Porter family. And the fact that Joey Porter has a mentally handicapped sister and dad with a tougher background always made me like him. That's great points. Additionally, I pointed out that Mitch Trubisky had more than one really good year with the Bears, and they made the Pro Bowl. So I thought he may improve that last time, and he did not. I was hoping for it too. And I agree with you, Robert. I mean, his pedigree was great in a very, very tough division against one of the all-time greats, and Aaron Rodgers, who stole a Super Bowl from us and a Lombardi trophy from us. Definitely won a championship in that division while he was playing. So that's some kudos that he deserves for that one too. Brian Davis, if our D-backs get in Allen's head early, we can win this. Guys, I think we're going to do more than Miami could. I don't know why Miami is regressing. Miami was a team I was afraid to play against in the playoffs. Going into this weekend, they were the team I wanted to play in the first round of the playoffs. I was hoping for a tie because a tie meant we went to Miami. Unfortunately, we're going to Buffalo. Hottest team against the hottest team. It's going to come down, guys. Who's got the better running game? Who's going to own time of possession? Who's going to do better in the red zone? And who's going to win the turnover battle? That is the game. This is not a 9-point whatever is put up right now. Bet on the Steelers. Put your money on the Steelers. You're making money this week. Steelers are going to cover. Absolutely going to cover in this game. They have to have a complete decimation of what they've been doing these last 3 weeks. And I don't think Buffalo is the team that's going to be exposing what we have. Not until we get to the Super Bowl. The AFC teams are very, very beatable. Robert, although in fairness to me, in the same comment, I guess Mitchell might improve. I also had 100% clear that Mason Rudolph is the best of our options. And we agreed on that. I told you, we were saying, at least I was saying Rudolph had the best deep arm on the team. I was hoping he was getting the start when we were going to those 2-10 start teams after Kenny Pickett was initially hurt. That's what I was hoping for. Unfortunately, it took us 3 games, 3 losses, or 2 more losses to figure out what we should do. Brian Davis starts with pressure up front. Absolutely, Brian Davis. That is our team, and I am happy to have Golden and Nick Herbig behind TJ Watt, because last time TJ Watt went down, we had nobody behind him. Nobody. Like, we haven't had a competent third, not even fourth. We haven't had a competent fourth in forever, but we haven't had a competent third outside linebacker since Highsmith was behind Dupree and behind TJ Watt. Now we are 4 deep. That's what free agency did. That's what that great draft pick, by trading back to get that extra pick in the draft, we got a gem with Nick Herbig. Absolute gem. Guy is going to be a player in this league. Guy is going to be in a situation where we might have to trade somebody like Highsmith away just to get this guy playing time. Not going to happen. Probably not going to happen next year. Maybe the year after. Maybe give Nick Herbig another year under the wing before throwing him in there. But guy is doing more in his snaps than anybody else on the team. No TJ Watt for Sunday versus Bills. Going to be tough. Like we said, I like our backups. Claude Bishop, what's up, Stryker? And hell yeah, we're going to win. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about this game. Hello, sir. Brian Davis, how you doing, sir? Tomlin is a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. Like it or not, completely agree. Absolutely, completely agree. No 2 ways about it. Brian Davis, it's playoff week. Let's go. Heck yeah, Brian Davis. Yoder, hey there, Stryker. More Mason magic coming. Yes. The answer to your question, yes. The Steelers are going to win. I agree completely. Coach Young, welcome to the show, Coach. We are going to the Super Bowl. I've got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. Oi. I've got a feeling, Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. No other team in the NFL has a cheer or a chance about going to the Nationals, going for the title. Steelers do, because the fans get a feeling. This feels a little bit like 05. Feels a little bit like 05. Michael Hall, terrible towel strikes down on Andrew Wingard and Jags. Cue sitters laugh. Don't touch the terrible towel. Don't disrespect the terrible towel. Indeed there, Michael Hall, with a Hall of Fame quote right there. Love that take. Claude Bishops, you're the most positive, upbeat, optimistic Steelers podcaster ever. Thanks, Stryker. Guys, you guys pick me up, Claude. Honestly, like I get excited. Like, I get really excited when we're doing well. I'm an optimist. I always hope for the best. But you should see me watching a game. I'm completely bipolar. I have heart attacks. It's insane. But love my team. Tell your friends, Steeler Nation. Follow me at SN Stryker on the Tickety Talks, on the Twitter, on the Instagrams. And I usually post to Twitter before I throw these things up. But happy for that stuff, guys. And also follow us on Steeler Nation. Subscribe to our YouTube channel /Steeler Nation. Easiest way to follow all of our great stuff. Trey Essex is throwing down some great podcasts right now, too. So make sure you're following so you get the inside take from a former Steeler as well on the Steeler Nation channel at YouTube. Brian Davis, Porter shuts it down, and he will only get better with time. Completely agree with you. Claude, Jeremiah, heck yeah. Dude, John Pittsburgh, how you doing, Johnny boy? Good to see you. Robert, during the season, others gave up on the Steelers having regular season winning record or chance of making the playoffs. I said otherwise. So many deserve credit that y'all big other points up. I don't remember you saying we were making the playoffs after we lost to 2-2-10 teams. I do not remember that, but I'll give you benefit of the doubt. Well, you others try to point to me as a hater, completely disliking Tom and most other shows amongst the other comments. I'm the only one who does throw in a compliment. Well, a lot of us compliment him, and you do throw compliments for him every time and time again. But I do like your take, too, about possibly trading him for multiple first-rounders, which may happen this year. Last year of his contract, it would be the time to do it. Timburo, Mike Tomlin is much smarter than Art Rooney, too, because Mr. Tomlin walks away as Ian Rappaport is saying he may. Then, while Mike would sacrifice the last year of his contract, he's already got it in signing bonus. And the two biggest TV stations saying they don't give him a job immediately. Yeah, they give him a job immediately. Then Mike will wait a year and go back to coaching a different team that doesn't want to give up any draft picks for getting them or trade them. I don't think that that's the way it's going to go, though, honestly. Like, I don't think that Tomlin has it in his head to take a year off so the Steelers don't get a draft picks. I think Tomlin would want the Steelers to get draft picks for him if he wanted to go somewhere else. Like, people are saying Washington is dumb enough to throw the whole thing at him. Absolutely, because he's a Newport News guy that's really close to Washington. It is exactly a 2.5-hour drive from Washington. If you live south of the city, it's a 2-hour drive. He's got an easy commute back home. So, and I think they moved the practice. Yeah, they moved the practice facility to the Virginia side as well. So that's down in Ashburn. That's closer to Richmond area. So really easy for him during training camp just to commute back and forth from home in Newport News, if that is the way he wanted to go. Michael Hall, it's time to get our payback after that 38-3 beatdown last year. This time, I believe we learned our lesson. I think this is going to be like, this could possibly be the big, like, reunion tour, the revenge tour for all the teams that blew the hell out of us and teams that always think they're going to beat the crap out of us, because it'll be Buffalo this week. We win this week. We go to Baltimore. We're not afraid of Baltimore. We win in Baltimore. How would it be to have Mason Rudolph going up against Myles Garrett in the AFC Championship game for the ultimate payback? The ultimate payback and slap in the face to a guy that hit him in the head with his own helmet. That's what I want to see in the AFC Championship before going into the Super Bowl against San Francisco to beat San Francisco after them giving us a beatdown in week 1 because we weren't ready to play. Now we're ready to play. And we got 3 more weeks of solid football, and we're in the Super Bowl. Look out, NFC. Because nobody wants to play the Pittsburgh Steelers if we're firing on all cylinders. Robert, so I think Porter has a great rookie year and has been completely solid and deserves to be a number 1 for the stat you mentioned. And I also believe Mike Tomlin's never been the worst coach and has always been smarter than his best friend, Art Rooney, and that he walks next year, but will prove that. You end the show not understanding what I say, that last year I kept saying we needed a left tackle. That was a left tackle. No, I remember that. No, we were always talking about nose tackle, and I completely agreed with you that we needed to draft a nose tackle. Fortunately, we got Benton. That was a perfect fit for us in that respect. And we were talking about center. We were talking about tackle. Honestly, Jones is a left tackle. That talk right here, like that crap when they were saying, oh, he'd make a fine right tackle. Like, that's crap. Guy's a left tackle. You don't jump up in the first round to get a top 3 left tackle in a deep left tackle draft. That's like the only time the Steelers have been able to get a left tackle of that high of a pedigree in their history, because we're always drafting too late and there isn't that much left tackle talent in a draft. We still had to move up 3 spots to get him, and we got him. So I agree with you. We needed that left tackle. We got him, and hopefully he becomes back to left tackle there next year. Point others were making fun of me for emphasizing left tackle needed, but addition of Broderick Jones to the line, even though it's the right tackle as an addition, has made the lines from suck to good. I think he's going to move back to left, though. I honestly think he will. And we weren't against you. During the draft, we were always talking about left tackle. Even on the draft show, when I had Trey Essex and D. Gray, which both played offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the draft show last year. They were both, and we were all talking about first round, left tackle, or we were talking about safety. Hamilton being, or not Hamilton, the guy that the Patriots ended up taking. Talking about him, we were talking about corner in that spot as well. I think those were pretty much the only spots we were talking about because we didn't think there was a guard there worthy of that pick in that area or any other position worthy of that area. Yoder, let's go shock the league. Get it done. We're going all the way. Let's go, Steelers. Hell yeah, Yoder. Michael Hall, one thing we have to keep in mind, Bills offense can be a bit inconsistent at times. So let's see if that happens this Sunday. Weather's going to be a factor. Let's check out. I'm gonna look up the weather. Buffalo weather 10-day. So I'm looking that up right now. Sunday's looking like snow and 25 degrees. That to us would be a perfect equation for a physical running football game. Balls on the ground. And Allen does put balls on the ground as a quarterback, more so than Rudolph. So it'll be interesting to see. Brian Davis, Benton, Trice, Washington Porter, Herbig, Jones. This could turn out to be the best draft class the Steelers have had. The future is bright, and stealing Warren undrafted 23 will prove to be a top tier. Well, we got Warren undrafted the previous year, not this year. But yes, might be the best draft since 74. We got to beat out 4 Hall of Famers in that draft: Webster, Lynn Swan, Stallworth, and Wagner. So those guys, or no, not Wagner, Lambert. Lambert was the other one, not Wagner. 2 receivers, Lambert and our starting center, Wagner. Yeah, Mike Wagner. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah, so those are the 4 we got. And then plus we just got Donnie Shell as the undrafted rookie free agent in that same draft. So 5 Hall of Famers in that draft. And that's back when they had like 12, 16 rounds. And we still ended up with an undrafted Hall of Famer. So hell of a draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 74. 100% agree with Stryker that the depth behind TJ Watt is great. In fact, it's our deepest position. Actually, we were deep everywhere this year. I was so impressed on the way we went out and spent, the way we spent the previous year. I saw that because our salary cap is huge. Wasn't as big this past year, but we spent. And we got great backups. We jettisoned the entire inside linebacker room and made it markedly better with the 4 guys we brought in. We're better than the 4 guys we lost. Kept Robinson. He's still been making plays for us. So we brought Jack back. Jack was in that locker room last year. He's a starter last year. Unfortunately, he's playing better than he did last year for us. But love that depth there. Love the depth at safety. We just gotten so many people hit with Neal going down, KZ getting suspended, Fitzpatrick going down. We had to get Patrick Peterson over there playing safety, who did a great job. Ero off the practice squad doing fantastic. They played above their pay grades. Honestly, those guys, to be able to get in there and get the Steelers and make plays, make interceptions, knock down passes. It's been huge at these players unsung in positions of depth that we got decimated with injury. Usually when you get like injury in a position, usually it's like 1 or 2. Like we got 4 injuries at inside linebacker. We had 3 injuries and a suspension at safety. That killed us. If Patrick Peterson couldn't play safety, we were hung out to dry. Though I would have had Sutton back. Sutton could have done it too. But hell, happy to have what we have right now. And I'm happy the way this team is performing right now. Thank goodness Golden isn't like Melvin. Exactly. And we had to get rid of him. We had to get something for him. But I'm still critical of Tomlin for allowing Melvin the trade that was very un-Steeler-like. Now, we usually get rid of people that don't want to play for us. So that's the thing. We want volunteers, not hostages, is what he says. What is a Steeler like Dan Rooney promising someone a bonus that costs us a 3rd rounder and paying it like taking the loss because that's the Steeler way? Just like a couple of decades ago when we had the number 1 outside linebacker tried to do that, Steelers took the loss instead to give him what he wants. And Tomlin gave, I don't know who you're talking about there. You got to name specific people. Additionally, my point of Tomlin being the only star on his William and Mary team and being spoiled because of that's why he's spoiled so many Steelers wide receivers. I completely disagree. He's not a spoiled man. He's a leader of men. He has programs that lead inner city youth there in Pittsburgh and helps to benefit their lives as well. Completely disagree with that statement. Tomlin, lack of discipline. There's no lack of discipline at all from Tomlin. That's the one. If there was a lack of discipline, Tim Burrow, we would not have won a game after we lost to 2-2-10 teams. So you got to admit that. We went 3-0 against 3 better teams after losing to 2-2-10 teams. And lack of discipline was not the issue. Shaka Steel, aloha, my friend. Good to have you back on the show as always. Aloha from Maui. Steelers shock the world. Hell yes. Notice not spread curves trying to say French. That means esprit de corps. Yes. No, I hear what you're saying. Instead of doing the right thing, Mike Tomlin, his players and coaches lie to the media and fans about Antonio Brown. That's off-campus department at St. Vincent's. He did a good job of maintaining Antonio Brown and giving us the production on the field. You loved that production when he was on the field. The only time we didn't get that production was when we said, you might not be the best guy on the team. Juju gets the MVP. And then he lost his mind. What's up, Ron? Mike Webster was a center. That's right. Mike Wagner was a DB. Thank you. It was Mike Webster. Matt Webster was the other Hall of Famer, with Stallworth, Swan, and Lambert being drafted, and then picking up Donnie Shell, an undrafted rookie free agency. Thank you very much. Wrong W. I appreciate the final on that one. Chuck Noll used to penalize players who try to sneak out of their own rooms at night. St. Vincent, so did Bill Cowher. They're both the opposite of Coach Tomlin. Mike Tomlin making it easier for more fun for his players than any other team. Additional championships that we could add over the last 13 years. I disagree. We were playing against the Patriots, who like to cheat. We were playing against Peyton Manning. We had 2 great all-time decade Hall of Fame quarterbacks in our conference. We were lucky to win what we did. Brian Davis, Golden is playing possessed. He could be the star of the game. Golden's playing fantastic. He had a great game, and I love Herbig too when he comes up off of there. Tamburro, I did not say we make the playoffs, nor do I think simply making the playoffs means squat, but I did say he'd have a winning record in the regular season. Okay, well, that's different. And playoffs were possible, and no one else was. Okay, I will give you that, but I didn't think you thought we were making the playoffs when we went 0-2. Ray Grigo, hello from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hello, Albuquerque. Welcome to the show, Ray. Let us know what you're thinking. K4C3, you are awesome, bro. Thank you, my friend. Love having you on the show. Let me know what you're thinking. Questions, comments. This is what this show is all about, guys. I get to say what I think. You get to say what I think. We have a conversation. We have a good time, and I'm getting down toward the queue. So, and I bring up all the cues. Everybody, I get you on the air no matter what, even when I have people on the air that I'm speaking with. Usually I'll pop your cues up underneath while we're talking. I've got a degree in broadcasting. I can multitask. I used to be a radio host. I know how this crap works. Claude Bishop, Robert, is it possible that you can say one thing positive about Mike Tomlin? He does. He doesn't hate Tomlin. He thinks he'd be a good front office guy on the team. I agree with him on that too. So Mike Tomlin would not want his new team to give up draft picks. So Steelers to anyone else, please be real, dude. It's not his decision, Robert. If we're trading Mike Tomlin, that's actually comes down to Omar Khan. A lot of people get confused with that. A lot of people talk about people that we brought in free agency, people that didn't work out in the draft. Yeah, Tomlin's part of the process, but honestly, the personnel moves, they fall on the back of the coaching staff, the scouting staff and the front office. That's their job. Tomlin can give his opinion on guys. He can look into the guys that people like and then give his opinion. And that's pretty much what I do on the draft show. I see what other people like, see kind of how the draft board is looking to fall, see what we kind of have on those days. And then when I go into the draft, I'm essentially giving my opinions on players that are weighted to be in that position when we're there. And that's usually what happens. Cheers. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, anytime, my friend. Welcome to the show. Always welcome, my friend. Brian Davis, if your pad, Nate, Caleb scored tickets for Buffalo, I hope he joins you live after the game. I will let Caleb know. Caleb's been doing a good job. He actually texted me both times on both weeks that I've had him on the show after and post games. He's like, Stryker, let's go live on the one, because I wasn't even going to go live the one time. He's like, Stryker, let's go live. I'm like, all right, we're going live. And like you saw, I had a whole bunch of, usually when I have people over at the house, I don't go live. we made it a party. Carlos tweeted his friends that he's part of with his fantasy football league, and they were asking him questions. So it made it really fun. And then plus we got my wife and her friend back from the game so they could talk about what it was like being at the game. So we got some neat, interesting information there that we normally wouldn't have gotten on any other show if I didn't go live while I had people over. So it was a good idea. And Caleb definitely needs the kudos for that as well. Love me some Caleb. Hey there, S. Welcome to the show. Do you think Allen Robb is underrated and could be used more on the offense? And Connor, Allen Robinson. Yes, by far he's underrated. He completely got taken out of the game just by the way Canada ran an offense. There's a reason why we picked him up. And the problem is now with Allen Robinson is he's going to be probably most likely a cut next year. We cannot afford $11 million on a guy that only gets 12 catches a year. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was used incorrectly. I thought for sure he was going to be starting at the X when DJ went down with an injury earlier in the year. Instead, we put Austin at the X, and Austin was terrible. Austin couldn't get open at the X, and our offense was the worst it had been all season when he was in there for DJ. DJ makes his offense move, guys. I know a lot of guys hate DJ. A lot of guys say, "Oh, we can trade for somebody better. Oh, you know, like he should be a better player, or like we can get a first rounder for him." Guys, he's the reason why this offense moves. He's the only guy that's always open. Yeah, he's going to drop one or two, but the guy's going to make more plays than he doesn't. Now he's scoring touchdowns. Now he's ripping off 60-yard, 50-yard touchdowns off of a slant because they're finally hitting him in stride when our other quarterbacks couldn't. Guy's a playmaker. Problem is getting them the ball in space. You guys forget, he was an all-pro punt returner. Second team all-pro punt returner. Second year in the season. Guy knows what to do with the ball in space. We need him to get the ball in space. And he's a guy that can do something with it. So is George Pickens as well. George did a fantastic job of being a decoy last week, laying down heavy blocks, playing hard through every play. I've got nothing but positive things to say about a young George Pickens after watching him throughout the rest of this year, because I'm hard on receivers, guys. I played receiver. I know what it's like when you're taking a play off. I know what it looks like. I know what it looks like when you're taking a block off. And we were demonizing Deontay Johnson when he took that play off during that fumble where he was pissed off the play before he didn't get the touchdown. Should have reviewed it. It was a touchdown, but should have had his head in the game, and he has not done nothing but have his head in the game since that moment. Same thing happened with George Pickens the following week when he watched Warren get tackled in the Colts. Didn't do a thing. And then we're like, it was much more silent against Warren because the league chose to show that play and point out DJ, which I thought was a bull crap thing to do for the league. Absolutely, you do not throw a player under the bus for not making a play on the field on a national broadcast. That is horrific for a player. Absolutely terrible to do to any player because that's their job. They know they made a mistake. They know they're going to do better next time. To just show that and keep rerunning it was absolutely horrible broadcasting. Terrible for the sport. Instead of highlighting the play that the defender made, great job of picking up the ball and running with it. That's what you should be on, not what wasn't done. Like when we just scored a touchdown that last game, guys, when Deontay Johnson ripped off that great play. What was the announcer saying in that game? They weren't giving Deontay Johnson kudos. They were like, oh, the Ravens really missed coming up in that spot. Oh, the safety should have seen that coming and moved up in that situation. That was what was said on live television because you have biased officials, biased people refereeing games or officiating games, not officiating, commenting on games, announcing games. They're biased. They wanted Baltimore to make that play. Baltimore didn't make that play. So they got to talk about how Baltimore didn't make that play, not how Pittsburgh made that play. And if you're an unbiased reporter, you talk about how the player on the team, on that field that made a big play, made that big play, not that somebody else did something wrong to have that play happen. Broadcasting 101, people. That's how you can tell people that like the Steelers and don't like the Steelers. And they didn't like the Steelers in the booth last week. Burrow, there's no weaker playoff team in the AFC that the other teams wouldn't most rather play than the Steelers. I'm telling you. When you have a 3-game winning streak with 300-yard games from Najee Harris, who's not only running the ball for 100 yards, but face planting people while he's doing it, nobody wants that, Robert. Especially when you're in a league that doesn't tackle anymore, that isn't used to this type of physical running back unless they're playing against Henry. Now they got to worry about it playing against Najee Harris, a guy that you said you'd rather have Warren on the field for. And there's arguments to be made for that. And I'm fine with that argument. But Najee Harris puts his will and forces his will on defensive players. And he gets in their faces. And that is Steeler football. And I love it. And I absolutely love, too, when Warren comes in, it is starting to do the same damn thing. Absolutely. The nastiest runs or the angriest runs from not this previous week, but the week before, all 4 of the angriest runs, 2 were Najee Harris, 2 were Warren. All 4 were Pittsburgh Steelers against Seattle. And Warren won the scepter. Awesome job. Just being the only behind Derrick Henry, King Henry, for having the most angry runs on the morning show on NFL Network. Fear the bird, the beard. I love that avatar. Go Steelers. Welcome to the show, DeBeard. You be sure to let us know your comments and questions. We're here for you. Claude, let's put the transitional tag on Mason. No, not at all. I do not transition tag Mason, but I'll tell you what I do. I'll say, we want to sign you before free agency starts, and you will be competing directly against Kenny Pickett for the starting job in training camp. That gets him to sign immediately. He'll probably want to sign a 2-tier contract. I make this money if I'm a backup. I make this money if I'm a starter. You sign him to it. Absolutely. That's the easiest way to do it. Now, if we get to the position, but transition tag, you got to realize transition tag is it's the average of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Mason Rudolph is not worth that. Mason Rudolph is like what we're paying for Trubisky, $8 to $10 million a year. That's what you look for a guy like that, a backup, perennial backup. But if he's going to start some games too, that's a good range for that. If he's just going to be, hell, we got him for $1 million this last year. He signed for $1 million. That was it. We got him for nothing. We're paying $8 million, $11 million a year to Trubisky. He's gone next year. Don't get me wrong. He's gone. If we can re-sign Mason, he's gone. But we're getting rid of that money there. If we can re-sign Mason, he is definitely gone. Kevin, the Elder God, welcome back to the show. Good seeing you again. Where do you stand on the quarterback situation now? Do you look at someone in the draft? Do you go into next year with a quarterback competition because of Mason and Kenny? Well, right now, Kenny and Trubisky are the only people rostered on the team next year. We might invite back McSorley. We just dumped him today off the practice squad. He'd be a nice guy. I'd love to have McSorley in training camp to compete, but I'm open for drafting another quarterback. You don't know who you're going to get where. It's a thick quarterback draft next year. But if we can find a way to get Mason Rudolph, Kenny's going to be there no matter what. If you can re-sign Mason Rudolph, you got Mason Rudolph and Kenny going next year. If you can't re-sign Mason Rudolph, you got Kenny and Trubisky for another year. I personally don't think that Trubisky is a good money move, but that's just reading at every single angle that you can look at objectively. Because you've got to have players on the roster that can compete next year, and you're not going to throw everybody out of the room for competition next year because you can still get to training camp with Trubisky and then just dump them before the season to make that salary difference. But Steelers right now are upside down against the cap before they've started free agency next year. I think we're already $6 million over the cap. So we've got to make some moves. Probably going to dump Robinson. That's 11 mil. Probably going to dump a core 4. That's 8 mil. Trubisky would be another 3 mil. So you're talking about some money moves that can make space. Probably going to have to restructure TJ. Probably going to have to restructure Highsmith or Fitzpatrick because those guys got new contracts and they're big contracts. So, and maybe even restructure Hayward. Hayward's in the last year of his contract. Might be able to do something with that money too. Push it out to 2 years. Hopefully he can play another year. If not, it's deferred. And that's what we have to live with. Carlos Lopez. Hola, senor. Sixburg Sealers. Absolutely love that. Love that. I knew exactly what you're saying, my friend. It was fun. Thank you for having us. Oh, anytime, Carlos. You were a big part of the show. I was just telling people earlier in the show if you missed it. It was fun going live, having everybody in the room because you got to come up and give your opinions and let Steeler Mundo know what everybody thought about what was going on with you on the show and what you thought. So it was absolutely awesome to have you on the show. Carmen, Steeler fan in Spokane, Washington. Hello, Spokane. Hey, that rhymes. That's great. Love that, Carmen. Welcome to the show. Let us know your questions and comments. Adam, bomb. Najee Harris ran phenomenally at the end of last season and at the end of this season. Why do you think he doesn't play this way throughout the entire season? And that's why I love having Warren. It keeps him fresh. This is why he's running downhill at the end of this year. This is why he's face planting people. 3,000-yard seasons in a row never happened in Steeler history. Only happened a handful of times in NFL history. We're talking about maybe 5 at the max to start their careers. So he is in rare air, and now we have to consider the 5th-year option. We'll talk about that on shows once we're out of the playoffs, but that's got to be a consideration now. Maybe we pick up that 5th-year option. Very unacceptable. K4C3, thoughts on who would be the offensive coordinator next year, or who would you want as an offensive coordinator? I don't know if Bieniemy is going to be available. He's an option. Leftwich is an option to bring in. I just want a due diligence thing. I want a lot of people brought in for interviews. I'm hoping that Omar Khan brings in at least 10 people to interview, talk about it, dual 3-step interview process, whittle it down to get the guy you want. Because that's what we do for head coaches. That's what we do for GMs. We got to start doing that for offensive and defensive coordinators. We can't just keep promoting from within. I'm fine promoting from within, but got to bring some other people in to get their ideas before handing the keys over to the next person. Because it hasn't worked since we've gotten rid of Arians, or since we got rid of the guy after Arians. I don't know why I'm always forgetting his name. Who actually was the statistically the best offensive coordinator we ever had in terms of offensive ranking within the league in the top 3. And I don't know why he's dropping. I know you guys will remember it soon. But since we dropped him, Fichtner, Canada, I mean, just bad choices. And they're all promotes from within. Claude Bishop, the writers should be stripped of their credentials if they don't vote for TJ for Defensive Player of the Year. It is unquestionable how good his stats are against any other pass rusher. Takes Parsons and Garrett completely out of the field. Absolutely. I mean, there was the time he lost the year before he won it when he lost to Donald, when he had better statistics, way better statistics, except for one. I forget what it was, either total tackles or it was TFLs. I forget which one it was. That was the only one statistic that he had better than Watt. But they're like, well, he's double teamed more. He's triple teamed more. Doesn't mean a thing. They're not calling holding on any of these guys. These guys are fighting through holds and making plays. So if you're getting a 19 when nobody else is hitting more than 1 a game, there's a reason why he should be Defensive Player of the Year. And also with him making interceptions, batting passes down at the line of scrimmage, forcing fumbles, jumping on fumbles. Guy is an all-around just monster. Absolute monster. You cannot deny what he is on the field, and is a big reason, might be the biggest reason, aside from Mason Rudolph, that we're in the playoffs right now. Tomorrow, Mike Merriweather is the Steelers linebacker from decades ago, who was basically number 1 linebacker in the league at the time, and we did not give them what he wanted because that's the Steelers way. And you also got to remember, he had a 6 season that season, I think before, I forget, he got 15 sacks or something that season, or 16 or 18. It was some sick number of sacks that year. But when we got rid of him, he had a very plain Jane rest of his career. Now, if you want to start making arguments, your better argument there would be Joey Porter. When we let him go, because he had some great sack seasons in Miami. But honestly, you could not deny Harrison being on the field. Harrison was too good to not be on the field. And that's the way I feel about Nick Herbig. Absolutely is. So I'm not going to fault that aspect. Preach. Thank you, Lopez. Appreciate that, my friend Carlos. Jimmy Pittman, ready to go to Buffalo and get the W. Let's go, Steelers. Yeah, Pittman. That's what we hear from Pittsburgh Pittman. Timbero, Steelers literally could have gotten 3 first-round drafts for trading Antonio at his height, when instead Mike gave him the apartment and made. Nobody was trading him at his height, man. Nobody. We got a 3rd and a 5th. We got Gentry and Deontay Johnson for that guy. We got a guy that replaced him, who's done a pretty damn good job. How could anyone disagree with the fact that the Killer Bees talent was championship talent, and we would have at least made a playoff run, but there was none of that because of Mike spoiling. Well, we made the AFC Championship the one year. Fortunately, the injuries at wide receiver kind of screwed us at that one. We had body catch Hamilton out there as a starter. Guy couldn't catch a ball unless he trapped it against his chest. Couldn't stand that guy. Other year, Shazier was the only reason why 2017 didn't win a Super Bowl. Shazier was healthy. That team was winning a Super Bowl. Hands down. No question. Jimmy Pittman should have dumped Mitch and kept Trace. I'm with you on that. Jimmy, that's a good take. And I agree with that take. Fantastic take there for Trace. Hopefully we bring Trace back. Honestly, I hope we bring him back for off-season re-signs. Talman, Timbero, if Mike walks before a trade, that's not Omar's decision. It's 100% Mike's decision. That is true, but if he walks this year, he still has 1 year left. So he can't come back into the league unless he recovers that year with the Steelers. That's the way contracts work. It's the way it works for players. Steelers own Mike Tomlin's rights for another year if he walks and he wants to come back into the NFL. So you can get your head out of it, at least, that the Steelers wouldn't get a draft pick if Omar decided to walk. It's these crappy announcers trying to say that that Tomlin would want to walk this season. He's not. I will put money down. I'll put $100 down if you want to bet. I'll be happy for everybody want to bet against me on that one. We'll start marking it. I'll keep a tally. I'll collect my winnings next year when Tomlin's the head coach. Timbero, anyone who thinks that Tomlin did not underperform with Killer Bees talent also think that Stryker's dog likes water. I do like that comment. I disagree with that, but I do like the comment, my friend. You know, like that. Kayla, welcome to the show. What are your 3 keys to the Steelers to pull up the upset against the Bills? Number 1, ground game. Offensively, grind it out on the ground, control the clock. That's number 1. It limits the amount of offensive plays for the other team. Number 2, don't turn the ball over. That's it. You don't turn the ball over, you win the turnover battle. We're winning these games. Now, if you guys remember, with Kenny Pickett in the game, we had to win the turnover battle to win games. Now, we just have to tie the turnover battle to win games. We tied it last week. 2 fumbles to 2 fumbles lost. We won the game. If that happened with Kenny Pickett at quarterback, we lost. We could not turn the ball over at all with Kenny Pickett. That's why he was so good at not turning the ball over. Can't turn the ball over against Buffalo Bills, especially on the road, especially early. And then number 3, you got to get pressure to try to force turnovers. Whether it's the defense getting in there, getting a strip sack, forcing a fumble, picking a ball off. That's how you win, because those 3 factors, controlling the clock, grinding down the ground with the running game, no turnovers on offense, getting turnovers on defense. And I'll even say a 4th, Rudolph, lead the team. Like you're leading the sleigh on Christmas Eve, my friend. That's a big one, too. If Rudolph is leading this team, anything can happen in the playoffs. I was in Eagles are my second favorite team. I watched Nick Foley and Dynamite. Nick Foles going take a team that lost a great quarterback to the Super Bowl and then win it. It's not. It's because they had good talent and a good defense. Steelers have good talent and a good defense. I think if we beat Buffalo this week, I think we beat the toughest team we play in the playoffs, unless we play Cleveland in the championship game. I honestly believe that. I think right now the best teams are the teams in our division and Buffalo. I think those are the best teams. I think Miami and Kansas City are very beatable this year. They are very beatable. And I'd be surprised if either of them were in the AFC championship game. Michael Scott Jordan Haley. Thank you. Yeah, Todd Haley. I always like lose his name, man. It drops out of my head for some reason. Thank you, guys. 65-25 record with Haley as offense coordinator. That was a guy we never should have gotten rid of. You guys like bubble screens. Why is he throwing bubble? And then you got guys kept yelling at Canada and figure, was there a jet sweep? Jet sweep. Yeah, I mean, their offense is way better. But you guys hated Haley because of bubble screens. And that was it. Bubble screens. We kicked a guy out because of bubble screens. Guy extended Ben Roethlisberger's career, getting the ball out faster. Bubble screens. That's all you said. Oh, no, it was one off, 61-35. Still, fantastic record, Michael Hall. Thank you. Thank you very much, and +1 to you for looking that stuff up. No coach in history reminds me more of myself than Mike. Quick-witted, sharp tongue, great sense of humor, articulate. And then he raises his arms and shows the beer belly that you couldn't tell was there. I always laugh when Mike raises his arms to celebrate, reveals a little beer belly that no one realized existed, and I totally relate to, and I like the guy a whole lot and have to love. It's just that I'm not delusional enough to think that he would be the best head coach. There you go. You always get a compliment with a backhanded compliment to Burrow. That's all you're getting, Hall. I learned my lesson not to bet against you last season. I know, right? I know my team. I know my team. Stryker, if you're telling me, then which other teams would you rather play in the playoffs than the Steelers? Oh, I'd rather play Miami. Miami is dog crap right now. They are drowning Dolphins. They backed into the playoffs. Absolutely backed into the playoffs. And they're getting blowholed this week to whoever they're playing. Houston's playing Cleveland. I don't think they can get past Cleveland. I really don't. I think Cleveland's going to whoop Houston. So I'd rather play Houston. I'd rather play Miami. Any team in the playoffs than the Steelers, because Steelers were on a 3-game winning streak. Those other teams I'm not afraid of. Tom, I have never said that I want Najee Harris or I love to have any less touches than I would have. I said I want Warren to have equal amount. Najee half the time. No, you said you wanted Warren to start. You said you wanted Warren to start. Amy, welcome to the show, Amy. We've always fallen to bad teams, but we always win against the good ones, and that's why we get in the playoffs. Mags, welcome back to the show, Mags. No sideline fades on 3rd and short, low percentage, even with single coverage. It just depends on how the play goes. If our guys get behind him and he sees that lane, Kenny was hitting those shots on the sideline. That we had the horseshoe offense. It's like that's the only place we were throwing the football. 8 yards down the field, in the center of the field, or up the sidelines. Actually, more like 5 yards or up the sidelines. That was a horseshoe offense. You didn't have to defend the middle of the field against the Steelers for like the first 8 weeks of the season. First like 12 weeks of the season. Now we're starting to throw just about anywhere. And if you watch around the NFL, every team does that. Every team with a good quarterback hits those shots on 3rd and longs or 3rd and shorts, gets a great player out on an edge that gets a step. That happened. I saw it happen with Miami. Saw it happen with the Bills. Saw it happen. You know, you watch any game. It's going to happen. If you got a good quarterback, it's going to happen in any game with a good quarterback. To Burrow. I think Najee ran Angry Run Award in September and sent it back. But this time he told them F off and he gave their award to his lineman. I know what you're saying there. He didn't say F off or anything like that. He just didn't want to bring any more attention onto himself for doing his job. There's some respect to be had for that. Honestly, there is. He's won 5 of them. He didn't reject any of them. He just gives them to other teammates when we get them. And that's not a big deal. And his teammates support him and love him for it. No, AG did not send the award back in the morning football show as they expected, but instead gave it to his line. Yes, they gave it to the line, and the line deserves it. The line has been turned around these last 3 weeks, and they're playing phenomenal run football. Seumalo with one shoulder destroying people. Daniel's doing a great job. Jones doing a great job. The tight ends killing it. And now the wide receivers all getting on board. Look out. Look out. What's up, brother? What's up, John Maulers? Maulers, great to have you on the show as always, my friend. KC versus Miami. Yeah, would rather see them. I love Najee for giving the national media talking heads a big F you by not sending them back their silly trophy, which looks like a sex toy. I do like that. What's up, Ron Burgundy? Guys, go to Steeler Nation Football Forum. Great place. Ron Burgundy, who's right now joined John in Pittsburgh right here. He's a great poster over there at the Football Forum. Go to SteelerNation.com. When you're not reading the articles, click on the forum button. Join the forum. It's free. We got some great new people that have been coming over, and I hope it's from these shows. Great place to talk about football, just like we do it right now. It's just we do it live on this show. But what do you have to say here, Ron Burgundy? They didn't renew Todd Haley because Ben didn't like him. He had crazy ideas like running the ball against teams with a bad run defense and not throwing long all the time, every time. I thought it was more, I mean, I can see if Ben didn't like him, that is an option. That is an option to go. John Maulers, we need to go 2-3 formation on short yardage. 2-3 formation on short yardage. Oh, you're talking about on offense. Okay. Yeah, so that's 2 running backs, 3 tight ends. I'm fine with that. We have done that. We've done it multiple times in these last three years, 3 games. So it's been happening, John. So keep watching the games, because I saw that one where we pushed Najee into the end zone. I saw Connor pushing, I saw Washington pushing, and I saw Freiermuth right on his back. So they're on the field, and I think that was actually a 1-3 formation. We had 1 wide receiver on the field at that time, but I'm fine with 2-3s as well, 1-3s as well. Always good to have as many as we have. I think Houston will beat the Browns. Cool. We can definitely that's a great matchup. No matter what, you got a great storyline. You got the big rookie quarterback, top quarterback in the draft, CJ Stroud, taking his team from worst to first into the playoffs, has a chance to win in a playoff game, first time since J.J. Watts left that team. So that's a big storyline. And then Cleveland on the upsurgence, playing well. Flacco knows how to win in the playoffs. And guys, I don't know if you remember this or not, but Flacco statistically has had the best playoff run of any quarterback in NFL history. When he won it in 2012, I think he had something like 11 touchdowns, no interceptions in 4 games. I was there in Baltimore. I used to have season tickets. That was the last year of my season tickets when I sold them to my mom. I was there in Baltimore when they beat the Colts. We flew out to Dallas for the big game against Manning, where he beat Manning on the long bomb in the end zone we were in, because my best friend was dating a girl from Denver at the time, which was a huge fan, and she invited us to the game. And that was a huge game, fun to watch. Don't sleep on Flacco is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. He made 0 mistakes the last time he was in the playoffs. If he does it again, they got a shot. They got an absolute shot with that defense and that running game. Robert Waltz, if Mason throws 2 picks in the first half, does Kenny come out in the second? I hope so. I really hope so, because that's the way you got to play it. It's the playoffs. John Maulers, Austin would be a great short yard situation to go deep. And that's the way he should have been used, as a slot receiver, kind of like the way we used to use Eli Rogers a bit. We used to hit him on the short, then pump fake and go deep and hit him on a seam. Not like a deep, but Austin can do a deep. And that's something we don't run enough. We should have a guy play action coming on the other side, have him line up in the slot, the other receiver come over across the field, then he runs like a slant hitch and go. Safety's going to be biting on the 3 wide receiver side. He's going to have one-on-one coverage deep. Pass pro is trash. Ours has not looked good, Robert Waltz. I will agree with that. But I will say, at least Rudolph's done a very good job of getting his ball out of his hands on 3rd and intermediates and 3rd and longs under a tough pass duress to complete some of those plays, which we could not complete anything over 3rd and 8 with Kenny Pickett or Trubisky. We just couldn't. I don't know why, we just couldn't. I at least have confidence when Rudolph is in there in those situations. Kayla, welcome to the show again. Now you're talking. Hopefully Minka is back and we can use 3 safeties to help cover their tight ends. Minka's trying to be back. Tomlin said he's going to be limited early. He's expecting him to play. KZ is definitely back. And guys, realize he's not coming in off an injury. He was suspended. He's coming back 100% healthy. That is tough to have at the end of a season for any player. And we got KZ, who's a heavy hitter, dislodges footballs, picks off footballs, good at playing the ball in the air. I love having KZ back. Hopefully we'll find a way to rotate those 2 people with Eric Rowe, call Eric Rowe back up. Just move Peterson back to the slot, rotate in the slot, rotate on the edges. That is the better way to play that personnel going forward, in my opinion. Tamburo, Fired Falcons head coach is an offensive coordinator guy. So what's wrong with him? Because he's, if he were black, I know you'd be mentioning him, and I'm not the one being racist by saying that, but I'm pointing out, no, I'd be fine having him in too. I want to just have a due diligence, to tell you the truth. I just know Bieniemy's up. I know Leftwich is up. I know if those guys get rehired, we get draft picks out of it. So it's not a dumb management perspective if you're bringing in people like that, but it's got to be the best guy. And I think the Steelers are doing a good job of that. John Mahlers, we go back to Baltimore and ruin the Ratbirds' hope for a Super Bowl. Would love that. Nothing would make me happier this season, where we've already given Baltimore half of their losses, than to go back to Baltimore after they said, oh, you guys won easy. We rested our starters. I want to beat the shnikes out of them in Baltimore. I really do. Because I know this team could do it. We're not afraid of Lamar at all. He gets exposed in the playoffs. And guys, he's already had so much playoff negativity. The quicksand is already halfway in his mind. If he makes a bad mistake early on, or Steelers make a big play against him, or get a big stop early on where he has to force himself to make plays, and he gets stuck in quicksand and keeps making bad plays, that's going to happen. Because he's already mentally out of it. He's not mentally tough. Ravens are a front-runner team. They don't come back from deficits. Mags, prediction. Calvin Austin takes a punt to the house in the postseason. I'd love to see that. I would love to see that, Mags, and I hope you're right. Tam Burrow. If you feel Nick Herbig should always be on the field, then how can you dislike my idea of seeing how he does it at inside linebacker? Are you anti-Highsmith or something? No, not at all. No. The reason why we kept him here is because we just lost TJ Watt, and he's able to play here healthy. And that's the way the Steelers felt. The guy is too good of an outside linebacker to play an inside linebacker. I did agree with you initially, back when we started getting decimated injuries. I wanted to try out Nick Herbig at that spot too. I completely agree with it, said it on the show. But at this point, the staff said, I'd rather go with people off the couch than Nick Herbig at inside linebacker. Why? Because he's awesome. He has more splash plays in like 12% of the snaps than most linebackers have it in like 30% of their snaps when they're rotating in. He did better than Golden this year. And Golden's supposed to be the 3. And that's why he's probably starting this week. So I'm not against Herbig at all. Love Herbig. Just Steelers think he's going to be an outside linebacker. I get your point that why not try him at inside linebacker? I agree with that point. But we've got him at outside linebacker now. Kayla, Eric Rowe could play some slot, I believe. I'd be fine with that too, Kayla. Any way to get him on the field, I'm fine with. Jimmy Pittman, I'm with you on beating Baltimore as well. Thank you. Tomorrow, nobody traded apartment off St. Vincent Antonio Brown through 3 first-round draft picks because they called him. Instead, they had players lie to the media. What are you going to do in that situation, man? You're talking about a hindsight argument. They didn't throw him under the bus when he was throwing furniture out of a freaking hotel room. Almost killed a 2-year-old when he was on the Steelers. Steelers kept it under wraps. They protected their star, and they got production out of him. That's what happens. And we did get a first-round draft pick offer from Buffalo. He refused to play there. We should have just sent him there. Should have just been like, screw it. You're going to Buffalo. Have fun. Game prediction, 27-24, Boswell walk-off field goal. Would love that. John, Harbs can lose because he gets greedy. Absolutely does. Mahler, Steelers 33, Bills 28. I'd love to see us score 30 in the playoffs. If we scored a 30 in the playoffs, we're winning. We are absolutely winning. But we're looking like snow, 25 degrees. It's going to be cold. I'm thinking it's going to be in the 20s as opposed to the 30s. But this might be a 23-24 game. It might be. It might actually be 23-24. Antonio Brown was caught. Of course he was. We've already talked about that. Pointed out 2 big TV stations have stated they will give Mike Tomlin a job the minute he's available because that's what he'll do for a year before he goes to a new team. But he is not released if he leaves the team with a year contract, the Steelers have his rights for a year. It's the same thing with any player that leaves a team a year early. Those rights have to be reinstated by another team or bought out by another team. So he can't just leave for a year and then come back. And then it's all good. because that's not the way contracts work in the NFL. Herbig, right outside linebacker. Highsmith at left outside linebacker. Actually, I can't agree with. I can't disagree with that. I mean, I'd rather have Highsmith as natural position at right, but I wouldn't be upset with Highsmith switching sides. It's tougher usually to rush up the left side, and I'd say Herbig probably gets off the line of scrimmage faster than anybody else on our team right now, just because of his youth and his quickness, and that's why we drafted him. So it would be interesting to see his speed rush and his ghost rush off the left side, because he's getting to the quarterback if he's doing that stuff. And you know for damn sure he's got TJ Watt, fellow Wisconsin Badger. It's going to be there chirping in his ear and coaching him in the playoffs for this game. And guys, I'll go to Burrow's last point. Steelers have not made a deep run for 13 years now. Yeah, they did. They made a deep run in, what was it, 19? We were in the AFC Championship game against, that wasn't 19, that was 18 or something. I'm looking it up now, because it hasn't been 13 years. I know that for a fact, because I was in New England when it happened. Conference Championship game in 16. That's not 13 years ago, dude. That's the game before the Super Bowl. So, no. Chow, chow, Dad. Welcome to the show, chow, chow. Steelers are 10-point dogs, but they're playing with house money and have nothing to lose. I like our chances. Buffalo can be beat. Absolutely agree. I don't care what the spread is. It doesn't even matter. It's like they've got to play us, and they're going off against our whole year right now, Vegas is, as opposed to going up against our last 3 weeks. Right now, we're the 5th best in the league at running the football in the last 3 weeks. Mason Rudolph right now leads the league in the last 3 weeks. Quarterback rating, completion percentage, yards per attempt. 3 big stats. That's what we got. Who's going to win, James? Black and gold, baby. Steeler Nation. Pittsburgh Steelers. Go to SteelerNation.com. Follow us, guys. Follow us on Twitter at Steeler Nation. Instagram, Facebook, where you're at right now, SteelerNation.com. Follow me at SN Stryker. That's what we do. Last take care to Tom Burrow. Guys like Schottenheimer, Marv Levy at least made the playoff runs. So it's not about the Lombardi to be a great coach like they were. And well, yeah, that's exactly. And you know, they are a great coach. And Chuck Knox, I believe should still be a Hall of Famer. A lot of people don't remember him from being a Seattle coach back there in the 70s and that 80s. Great coach for Seattle Seahawks. Yep, hell yeah, James. Without the playoff runs, no coach or any team, especially the Steelers, have ever stuck with them. But Art gets money his way, doesn't care. Michael Hall, hope we get divisional versus Ravens. Hope we play well. Well, if we win, we definitely get the divisional versus Ravens. That's a fact. We're the 7th seed. We play the 1 seed if we win. Cannot wait. Would be ecstatic to see the Ravens. Absolutely. Mag, Stryker, is this fun or what? I'm drinking. Cheers to you, Steeler Nation. I hope you're drinking. Have a good time. Salud, Salancha, all Steeler Nation, Steeler Mundo. They made an AFC Championship run in 16, buddy. Come on, get your stats straight. Killer Bees were on that team. Pittsburgh 20-7. Yoder, black and gold forever. Let's go Steelers, guys. That's all the time I have on my show. Love all you guys. Steeler Nation. Please go to YouTube.com/Steeler Nation. Subscribe to us so you know when I'm popping up, because you never know when I'm popping up. Might pop up after the game this week. We got to kill. We had like 1,000 people on the show last week when that happened. Take care, boss. See you next week, ghosts. And that's it. I am your host, Steeler Nation Stryker, for another Strikers Inside Slants. Rooting along with you as always with Michael Hall of Fame. Go